So we broke down in the middle of nowhere on a single carriageway. You can't write this really, can you? This is not good at all.
Of course it started raining as soon as we broke down.
Oh, we've broken down! Oh, pathetic really, isn't it?
Brilliant. Thanks, Pete. Anyway, here's what happened.
This is my Nissan Qashqai. It's my family car. And those that have been following the channel know that I've bought some really dodgy cars recently. But the one car I expect to be reliable is this one. As you can see from the first bit of footage, we broke down. Here's a little backstory of what happened to me and my family when we was in the Qashqai.
The Nissan Qashqai remains a very practical family car. Decent size, roomy enough for a small family or commute, and relatively fuel efficient on paper. Now this model of Nissan Qashqai has the 1.2 DIGT engine, but unfortunately these engines fall very, very short. Now these engines are timing chain driven, and they are very well known for failing. Not only are they known for failing, but the piston rings are undersized, which then causes the engine to burn oil. Previously, many owners of this exact engine have reported of constantly filling up the engine with oil. And like myself, many other owners have fallen victim to catastrophic engine failure. So now it's time for me to explain what happened and why you should avoid these engines at all costs.
We went to visit some family in said Qashqai. It was on the A303 heading towards Somerset. It was doing about 70 miles an hour, then all of a sudden the car lost power and it started juddering. Luckily, we managed to pull it over into a side road. We waited for a couple of hours for the AA to come out and inspect the car. They diagnosed it with to be a crank sensor of some kind, not too sure exactly what it was. Went out, picked the sensor up, come back, then realised there was an oil leak around the ignition coils. So he managed to clean them. The oil was very low, considering we had checked the oil prior to leaving. There was virtually no oil left in the car, which was a big concern. So the AA put some new oil in the car and let us head back home because we needed to get the car looked at. As we drove towards home, within 2 minutes, all the lights came on the dash. The car just went into meltdown, and here we are. So after getting it to the mechanics and them then diagnosing the problem was no compression on cylinder 1, and they didn't want to get involved with this car. So with it being our family car, we left carless, and my wife can only drive automatic, and most of the cars that we've got, actually all the cars, are manual. So that leaves us a big problem. We've got a car that doesn't work, probably needs a new engine at least, or an engine rebuild. So I've got a couple options. I can either get it into the garage. It's an open checkbook to get this fixed. I could buy an engine and do it myself. Them two options are probably the most sensible. Or option 3, I can buy a smashed up car and do it myself. Of course, being the master of making bad decisions, we've gone with option 3. Here is our replacement engine. So this is the donor vehicle. So we're going to be taking the engine out of this one, putting it into the family car. But there are a few important things that I need to do before I make the choice as to whether this is actually going to go into the family car. Because these engines are renowned for being really bad, I've got to check, first of all, is there any oil in the car? Because that's basically what cooked the other engine. So I need to make sure that there's plenty of oil in this, or there's enough oil that hasn't run dry, because there's a really bad design. If we get that far and the oil's good, basically what we're going to do on both cars is we're going to drain the oil. I know there was 2 litres put in that car, so I need to minus off 2 litres to see exactly what was left in there. I need to see how much oil is in this one. And if it's pretty much the same, then I don't really know what to do. If this engine is good, what we're going to do, we're going to change the timing chain on this engine. We've never done a timing chain before. Can't be that hard, can it? Let's have a look. Come over and let's have a look at this absolute monstrosity. So yeah, it's got a full tank of screen wash. So it's looking promising, but I'm not too worried about that because the all important thing is I need to check the oil. And if the oil's low, then I don't know. It's had a pretty bad knock. So as you can see here, it's pushed the condenser right back. The crash bar there, it's pushed it right back. Now, the thing is, it hasn't pushed too far and knocked the engine. Now, I say that, but I won't know fully until I take all of this apart. Now, you're probably wondering, why have you decided to do this? I've decided to do this because I want to sell the car. Now, this is the cheapest option. It is the highest risk, but for me, it's the cheapest option because I won this car, including fees, for around £1,500. To get my hands on a decent engine is around £2,000. And I've got, this one's manual, the other one's automatic, so I'm going to have to swap the gearboxes over. Put the automatic gearbox on this engine, put it back in the car. I can sell that gearbox. They're not going for loads of money. Obviously, I can't sell any of the front end, but I can sell the doors, maybe the seats, the rear boot lid, the rear bumper, the wheels. You know, there are parts that I can recoup some money on. So, but I think if this engine's all good, like I said, I am going to do a timing chain because these engines, yeah, they don't fill you with confidence. So let's check the engine oil first. Okay. Can you see that? We wipe it with our trusty glove. Now is the moment of truth, actually. That doesn't really fill me with a lot of confidence, that. Last thing I want to do is do all this work and then a month down the line it's toast. So this engine is good at the moment. The plan will be probably to do the engine swap. Now you probably notice on the white car the door has got a big dent on it. I've got a new door for it. The plan will be, I reckon, is to do the engine swap. We're going to sell the car and then look at getting something that actually works and doesn't cause me this much headache and stress. So, but it makes for good viewing, I suppose. Or does it? I don't know. So we got this from Copart in a bad way and we had to travel up to Doncaster. It took all day, 4 hours. I'm a little bit nervous. But you've just got to go with it. So let's take a look around the car. So it has a panoramic roof. Doesn't matter because we're not going to be using that. The other one doesn't have a panoramic roof. We can sell the wheels. We can sell the doors. We can sell the mirrors. We can sell the back doors. Take a look in there. Obviously the manual. The seats are a little bit dirty. I think that's just mud. That will clean up. Whatever we can sell to recoup some money, we will do so. Also, the parts from the other engine, I might even try and rebuild that engine. I've never rebuilt an engine before, but listen, how hard can it be? But let's focus on one thing first. Have I just wasted all my time in picking this car up? When I spoke to the mechanic, he said if there's no compression on cylinder 1 or any of the cylinders, you've got a big problem. You've got a big job on your hands. So have I made the right decision in putting a new engine in, or would it have been worth changing the engine? I don't know. I'm sure some of you will let me know in the comments. Please do let me know what you think would have been the best course of action. This is the route we're going to take, but I'll be interested to know your thoughts. Also, over 80% of you that watch my last video are not subscribed, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give it a like, very much appreciated. It does help the channel out massively. So if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. What are you doing? Get involved. What we're going to do now, we're going to drop the oil out of this and just see how much oil we've got and then compare it to the other one, and that will tell us a lot, hopefully. So let's get cracking.
So before we could start draining the oil, we had to remove some of the front end. We started with the headlights, then we moved on to the front bumper. We also had to jack the front of the car up just so we could get underneath to start draining the oil. So that's all the oil that's come out of the engine. We're going to put it in a bucket, then we can work out how many litres was actually in the engine. Okay, so it's getting dark, but we've drained all the oil out of the engine of the car, and it's got just under 3 litres of oil in there. So let me know what you think. Do you think it's worth taking this engine out and putting in the other one, or is that too low? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. I feel a little bit more reassured as I did when I first checked it. So now, it's getting dark now. Tomorrow, for us, we're going to drain the sump of the other one, minus off 2 litres. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, so I've got some good news for once. I got rid of that bloody awful microphone. I've ordered another one, so yeah, sounds like I'm filming something from the 80s. So that's gone. And right, so just to clear something up, when we broke down in the Qashqai, there was no oil. Oil was run dry. So the AA technician had put 2 litres of oil into the car. So when we drained that out, we've got a minus off 2 litres that was put in, and then we'll get an accurate reading of how much oil was in there. So mileage as well, the mileage on the white one is just ticked over 90,000, and the one out of the donor vehicle is, I think, 72 or 73,000. So right, so we've managed to drive the car to the garage. Now I'm going to start the car for you just so you can hear what is going on, and we are going to plug this car in to see what codes it comes up with. We're using the TopDon TopScan OBD reader, so we'll give that a go and see how we get on, see how good that is. If it's any good, I'll put a link down below in the description. Let's start the car up. Give it a little rev. If I put it into drive, very rich on fuel. So we've been sent out this diagnostics tool from TopDon. It's the TopScan. It's a portable diagnostics, plugs in using Bluetooth. You download the app from your phone, easy while you're out and about on the road. There we go. Right, so we're connected. Okay, it's got all these cool features. Diagnostics, let's go on to diagnostics. Automatic. Read the VIN number. Let's see if it can read the VIN number on this car. There we go. So it's read the VIN number. Brilliant. Handy bit of kit this so far. Let's see if it can read some codes. The good thing with something like this as well is you can just sort of keep it in your car. You haven't got to have the big chunky diagnostics machine like the garages do. Okay, so we're scanning now. 11 faults on the engine. Wow. So current one, cylinder 1 misfire, multiple cylinder misfire. That's good that you can actually search. I think a lot of them are going to be old faults. We're only interested in the current ones, which is good because on other diagnostics it will give you a load of fault codes, but you don't know what's the current one and what is previously sat there. That's not actually a problem. Yeah, all history. So cylinder 1 misfire. Let's have a look here. Oil reset, throttle adaptation, ABS, DPF regen. And what a great little bit of kit as well. So thank you to TopDon for sending me out this diagnostics tool. Brilliant bit of kit, and I'm definitely going to use it when I'm out and about on the road. I think it's around £50, so I'll leave a link in the description below, so thank you for sending that out. Pleasantly surprised by that. So I think first things first, we're going to change the coil pack over from the engine on the other one, see if that makes a difference. If not, probably going to have to do a compression test, aren't we? Do our own compression test. That will tell us a lot. That will tell us a lot. Okay, so we're going to test cylinder 1. We've connected it all up. We've disconnected the fuse for the fuel pump. We're going to crank it over, see what reading we're getting on cylinder 1, and then we're going to go along and check the others as well. Okay, so we're going for cylinder 2 now. Quickly show you these. Let's just come out of number 2. Very oily, and then that one's come out of the cylinder 1. We carried out a compression test on cylinder 3 and 4, and they both came in around 150 to 155 psi. I think what I've learned through this video and what's happened is stay away from the 1.2 Nissan Qashqais. They are bad news. Don't get involved. Don't spend your hard-earned money on one of these cars. If you do want the Qashqai, get the 1.6. I know they're a lot better than the 1.2. Great idea to put a 1.2 in such a big car, but hey ho, poor design. Stay away from them. If you want to follow along while I do the engine swap on this, then make sure you subscribe. Also, if you like the video, leave a thumbs up. Hopefully, next video I'll have a brand new mic, so I won't sound like I'm in the tunnel. But that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you very soon in the next one. Take it easy, guys.
We've got a video of that.